Good evening, Board, and welcome everyone to this July 19th Board of Directors regular meeting of Harlan Community School District. Tonight we have on the Finance Committee Blatt and Hertzberg, and on the Policy Rachel Larson Scheckinger, and the agenda we have here before us. So first of all, we have a quorum, except I guess we have Joe missing so far, and Jade, we'll see if she comes, but otherwise we have our quorum, and we'll call the meeting to order, and since we hadn't determined the quorum. Okay. So do we not have to vote on that, do we? No? Okay, so we have a public forum, and I guess first we'll ask Kat if anybody requested to speak at the public forum.
No, sir.
As citizens are always welcome. I always want to say that, right, Joan?
Right.
Okay, so the first thing here we have on the agenda is to approve the agenda. And so is there any discussion as far as the agenda? Any questions or comments?
I think you announced that this was the July 19th meeting, it's June 19th.
Thank you for correcting that. June.
It'll be July 19th before we know it. Right?
Yeah.
Stick me to my next ride.
I move that we approve the agenda.
Okay.
The second.
Second by Joni. All those in favor, aye.
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 Those opposed, no. Okay, next we go to the discussion items. We'll turn it over to Dr. Jenny Barnett.
Okay, I will share, Jade had asked if I would just share a little bit about what we do for mental health and social emotional learning. So I'll just quickly share with you guys what we've currently done. And I have the principals here too to help explain more when it comes to the universal stuff. So universal supports just means what do we do for all kids at all levels. And at the elementary school they do quite a bit just because they are younger and they're still learning their social skills. So they have social skills lessons, and it's through the well-managed classroom, and it's Boys Town, it's a Boys Town model. So teachers teach those. And then they have weekly guidance lessons with guidance counselors. So every week a guidance counselor comes in. We have one full-time guidance counselor for each building. They do something called zones of regulation. So it's just like a red light, green light, and a yellow light. And those zones, they give kids vocabulary to say, I'm in a red zone, so which means, ooh, he or she may need something more. If I'm in a green zone, then I'm okay. And if I'm in a yellow zone, here's some other, and they teach coping skills with that. They have some small group sessions, and then they do restorative circles, which are basically working with kids to problem solve on their own versus having to have the adult do that. So there are some situations where you can have restorative circles in classrooms and talk through things, so they can learn to problem solve on their own. And then the middle school, Bill, do you want to talk about those two?
Yeah, every Wednesday we have a social emotional learning lesson. So we have advisor or like homeroom settings where each teacher has about 15 or so kids, and we have different things that we do on different days throughout the week. And on Wednesday there's a specific social emotional learning lesson that might entail a video and then some questions, or a question that we pose to kids, and do some even more small group discussion led by the teacher. There, our teaming concept. We have grade level teams that meet and discuss. So one day a week they discuss anything that's going on with kids that one teacher might particularly know, or has something brought up about a student that they want to share with the rest of the grade level team to stay on top of things. And then one other thing we do universally is we have a class called Choices. So Mrs. Dare, our guidance counselor, teaches that, and it's in an exploratory wheel. And it's kind of like a character counts type class that all sixth graders take then throughout the year.
So we have our What I Need Win time is right in the middle of the day, and teachers will poll students. They have priority days for academic needs, but then we'll also have just team building or relationship building classes, like maybe it's you can come here and, if you don't have to be in a class for a certain thing or whatever, you can come and put together a puzzle. Well, the teacher's working with the kid at that time to build a relationship and feel connected to either students in that class or the teacher. And that's every day. They are also in a homeroom. They meet Mondays. They have the same homeroom teacher, so that's their person to help them feel connected to school. And that homeroom teacher kind of keeps tabs on them through the year and works with them so they have their person. You know, if they don't feel like they have another connection to another adult for some other reason in the school.
So then we also have a continuum of supports. Not big enough? Can you see it? So those things are for all kids, and then if kids happen to need something in addition, then we have these to help them with some of their social emotional needs. So school counselors at different levels. We have a student navigator, so Brenda Renter is the student navigator at the high school. School-based interventionist, which is Cindy at the middle school, and Amanda Nelson at the middle and high school. We have a social worker through Green Hills AEA, and her name is Chelsea Hatcher. She's here 2 days a week. And then we also have school-based therapy, which I will get to talking a little bit more about that, but we have 3 different therapy groups that come in, so they cover our needs, and they each have different personalities, I guess, if you want to say, so you don't get pigeonholed into one therapist with every single kind of kid. So there's several different therapists that have different expertise, I guess. And then we have a community resource navigator that's not ours, but it's offered through Green Hills AEA. It's free. Kathy Hannafin, if we need her, she is actually an expert more on attendance and doing things that route, so we can always call her in and bring her into a meeting and say, hey, we're having trouble with XYZ, what are you seeing? She also was the leader when we had the student death and had a crisis. She came in and helped us, and I know she has worked with all of our principals at some point, just kind of to consult with them if needed. Not pushy, but if you need her, you can call her. And then this chart, which is ours, just kind of says what type of service. So it started out, I would say, the school counselors are the next amount after the universal, and then it gets a little bit higher and higher and higher need as you keep going right, except for the community resource navigator, which community resource navigator may be able to say, if we say we don't have something here in the district that we can provide, do you know of somebody in our area that could provide this? Because we don't have everything.
Can I share something?
Yes.
Because I was going to share this later, but now seems like a good time. So Brenda Renter is our student navigator, and she works with students. She's kind of our triage for behavior that comes through, but then also the students who happen to be like repeat offenders coming through our office often, she will really focus on them and work with them. And so I asked her to share some success stories just to get you guys an idea of what she does or what we've been really working on. So we had a freshman student who had numerous issues with attendance, was missing 20 to 30% of classes. Behavior was a major issue. He was put on probation early in the year, and then just many behavior issues as a result. Was failing all of his classes, just really struggling. His home life was not very positive either, so she worked with him often, got his community support, got him into school-based therapy, and second semester he failed 0 classes, so he passed all of his classes. He had 0 referrals, and his attendance was much improved. So from probably 15, 20 behavior referrals, which is quite a bit. He was probably winning the contest there for a while, and in attendance and behavior and what have you. By the end of the year, she'd worked with him, and he was a model student, for him. So a couple other, she gave me a whole lot. So I'll try to. So we had a group of young men who had as a group, a lot of behavior referrals. 7, 5, 13, including suspensions, things like that. We worked with them, she and I together, and second semester we had totaled like 5 referrals, so from like 30, say, to 5, so just through working and some school-based therapy, mental health resources, and working with parents, success meetings, alternative plans, things like that, so.
And I
That's awesome.
should have said too, so when they get, this level goes more extreme as you go this way, but to get to this, there is a process. So there's a stat team or a student assistance team. So we definitely, teachers can say, ooh, I need some help with this young lady, and how can you help me?
Yeah.
And so then the team talks, and then you just kind of just determine which thing might be best, and you don't get it right all the time the first time, but then if you don't give up on them and you keep working, then you see the successes. So that's the continuum, I guess, of the supports. And then I just wanted to just real quickly, I did ask the therapists that worked with us this year, how many students did you work with? Elementary, 35 students on an individual basis. So this would be, our pretty high needs and just really need somebody to work with weekly or bi-weekly, just on school behaviors. Middle school had 31 students, and then the high school had 52. So that's
Is that
quite a
kind
few
of-
students.
Is that kind of the trend the high school is gonna have typically more than?
Sometimes, and part of that is because the elementary has 2 counselors too that work with those kids a little bit more. And when you look at counselors from elementary, middle to high, elementary really, like they go into the classroom and do things, and then they
Sure.
work with kids, either small groups or groups. Middle school is a hybrid of that, but once you get to middle and high school, the counselor's job, they do a lot of scheduling things and different things that aren't necessarily totally focused just on the kids' mental health. So their jobs shift
Okay.
a little bit. So that's why the high school, in my opinion, why the high school and middle school percentages of kids are probably a little bit higher, just because they don't have the time to, they have different job descriptions, I guess.
There's more students. in
More
high school.
students too, in the high school, yeah. Elementary, there's about, yeah. And then this year, we had therapists, so Family Connections was a therapy group that was here 1 day a week. Fletcher Counseling was here 1 day a week. Our master level social worker, that Chelsea Hatcher that I talked about, she was here 1 day a week, and then MER2 Behavioral Health was here. They had 2 therapists, they had one here and then one across the street. So they were here 5 days a week. So next year, Family Connections is growing, so they're gonna have 2 therapists here for a total of 6 days a week. So they're gonna be more down at the elementary and up here meaning middle and high school. Fletcher Counseling, she did middle and high, mostly high, I feel like, and she will add days. The bonus is these therapists are adding days if we need them to. And then we have the social worker for 2 days a week this year instead, and then Therapy Place has just added a therapist for up to 3 days a week. So all of these are great partnerships and cost us nothing. So that's the good thing. And what they do, we do give them office space, like somebody has it Monday, somebody has the same office Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and we shift that around. And they do charge for insurance. If parents have insurance, then it's easier for parents to have the child have therapy. They don't have to pull them out during the school day. The shared master level social worker through Green Hills ADA is paid for. We use operational sharing dollars, so we get some dollars for her. And she covers those that maybe don't fall under the Medicaid or are insured and don't have an insurance. So she does therapy for free.
You can go back one second.
Go back one.
Are they not nurture? What's?
MER2 has elected to not serve next year because they feel they have, we want a school-based therapy approach versus collaborating with the schools and the principals and working all together when we are working with kids. Not that we need to know any confidential information, but how can we help, and is it
Okay.
just a little give and take of collaboration. They have decided that they don't have a school-based model, so they will see kids, they'll still see kids at their place.
Okay.
Yep. And that's it. That's just all I had. I just didn't know, Jade, was there anything else that you?
Well, I was gonna say, sorry I was late.
No, that's okay.
There's always a crisis at the Albertson house. But thank you for putting these numbers together for me. That's mainly, you know, I like to be sure that we are offering and facilitating what we can to help kids, especially right now during, you know, some seemingly high levels of mental what's the word I'm thinking of? Mental health, thank you. On the rise, the uprise, so, yep, thank you.
I do think we all need to be considerate of the adults that are in our building too, because there's things going on with the adults too. So I think we all are pretty cognizant of that when it comes to administrators, or even taking care of each other. But that's another thing too, that if we would need anything, we can find the resources to help adults
Oh,
as
that's
well.
not me.
So,
Couple of questions.
Oh, yeah.
The number of students that require these types of services, do you see that increasing, staying about the same, or decreasing over the next years?
I would probably say increasing, but
That seems to be the trend. That doesn't
seems to
surprise
be-
me.
Yeah.
They just
Yeah.
had I don't even fully know exactly what the workshop was all about, but in Des Moines, I was reading that they just did a study of Iowa in general, and it was school-based therapies. I want to say kindergarten through 12, but don't quote me on that. That in Iowa, that the mental health assessment wasn't great, and that seemingly an uptick. I don't know if it's post-COVID, or I don't know where their numbers exactly were coming from, but they are seeing it trend upwards still for the next several years, that kids that need some sort of intervention, whether it be school-based, you know, with a private, and that was just last week, maybe, I read that. So it seems to be going up.
Right, and I think that first slide that I put with Universal is really important, is to just teach kids how to speak about things or ask for help if they need it, or problem solve and work together is key. Because if we can help build that foundation, then maybe they can help problem solve their, you know. But statistically, one in 5 students in a classroom, so in a classroom of 20, 1 in 5, or 4 out of the 20 need some type of a higher level therapy.
And I like to talk about it so that parents know that it's something that is available to their student. I don't know if that's always, maybe not from a school standpoint, but I don't know if that's communicated well in our community or in schools, that there are resources available if indeed your child, you know, or you yourself working in the school needs some sort of care meeting with one of these people. So I think it's important that people know that's available.
And how would you assess Harlan in comparison to the other districts around? Do you have any feeling for that as far as our capability of handling?
I think now that we're building a good system, I think we can handle it, yes, for sure. This is kind of my passion and what I did in my previous career, but I would say we're building it, and that's what you have to do, is once you build it, then you see the resources, and then you adapt as you need to adapt. But and making people aware we do have this, and opening up our building to say you can come in and we'll collaborate with you is big, I think. So yeah.
This is a very helpful report. I appreciate it, and it's great information to have, and because people do ask a lot about that. And I think our state legislators are constantly getting bombarded with this too, and that's information that it's always good for us to have for them. Here's what's happening here.
Right. And we have taken advantage of some of the grants that are offered to pay for some of these, like counselor salaries, or to pay for clubs, the kindness clubs and different pieces that, or some curriculum that might go along with the elementary. I know that we've got a grant to pay for that. So we're taking advantage and still working with the legislators to let them know that they do ask. Yeah.
Sure.
It's awesome.
Okay. Go ahead.
The
That's all I
facility update, do we want to wait till we get more information, or is there much to report on the facility update?
June 26th is the bid letting day, and we're waiting for a bid for a mechanical bid at the high school. So all other bids have come in, we're just waiting for that mechanical bid and hoping we will have one by
Yeah,
then.
that's what I thought you would say. There's a-
Go ahead, Jim.
Well, there's
Say
just
the
a lot of
other-
balls
yeah.
in the air,
Yes.
and we keep waiting for that time when we can say this, we have something that we can really present to the board, but I think we're kind of still in limbo before we're gonna make some of these decisions, and the time will come, we'll figure it out.
Tough to
Jay?
get a report either way.
Mm-hmm.
We are much in limbo.
Mhm. And next Tuesday, I believe, is our time we'll decide if we get the bids for the second phase, the bid we're
The
missing.
26th, yep. That's Monday.
Oh, Monday, okay.
Mhm.
And
Tentatively set for
tentatively set for a special board meeting Wednesday at noon.
Yeah.
And we also get the bids for phase 3, don't we? Is that right? No.
No,
We
just-
just need the one.
Okay,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. But then we need that to be able to evaluate all the rest of them.
Yes,
And even
yes.
all the rest of them on phase 3,
Yes.
they're
we'll
really
be
trying to
evaluating.
dig into and see
Right.
if everything is
There's a
proceeding
big
the best.
puzzle and every piece matters.
Yeah.
And I can
Well put.
guarantee you, we are earning our compensation on
I'm-
that
I'll be
committee's
asking double salary.
facility board.
I'm gonna say,
Meeting, talking.
that's the
Every,
hardest working committee that I've ever seen. So, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. There's a lot of weeds to go through, isn't there? There's a lot of
Yes.
details.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Very good. Any other questions or comments? Okay, we'll move on then to the action items. First, we have the personnel report.
Not a lot to report, very similar to last month's. We're just moving around some things like Tom Cronin, assistant, he stepped down from assistant high school band, but Matt Polson is picking that up. Yeah, they kind of talked it through and wanted to switch, so we let them, and just some coaching stipends and things like that. Otherwise, not a lot of change from last month. But we will start probably next month in July, gearing up to start really heavily recruiting for those classified positions like the paras and the cooks. It's just hard to hire them in June and then have them wait until August to start a job. So we will start recruiting heavily, going to a nutrition conference this week in Des Moines, so maybe I'll be able to recruit a supervisor. We'll see. Fingers are crossed.
And one certified vacancy open yet.
Well, that's the one that we have available, that if we
Ah,
get a very, very, very good candidate, we might,
Right.
or we will hire them to add another section.
Right.
Yep,
right.
so
Yeah.
we are sitting very well in terms of classified or certified positions right now.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, any questions
Would
on?
this be a good time to welcome our new athletic director?
Well,
Mr.
yeah, I
Bell?
knew we were gonna, and he just, Al,
That was a
yeah,
lot of
this
work.
is Anthony, and he's starting in July 1st
Yes.
with us.
So,
So,
you want me to say something?
yeah.
How this worked. I'm Anthony. My wife will be the 4th grade teacher. I've got a daughter, Kinsey, who will be going into 5th grade. My son Carson's going to go into 3rd grade. So we've been doing the commute thing. I've got one more load, I think, next Sunday, and I think I'll be moved in. So Sandy Myers' home is
Yeah.
the house. Beautiful home, beautiful neighborhood. Just wanted to thank you guys. I think Dr. Barnett's tired of me thanking her, but you're gonna get what you get with me. I'm very honest and very passionate. I work extremely hard. I'm very, very excited to be at Harlan, to be able to, as a 9-12 principal, and I've told Casey this a bunch of times, as a K-12 principal, you wear a lot of hats and you get really good at stuff. And I've always said good's the enemy of great, and I want to be able to be great. I got my master's in sports administration, wanting to be an athletic director, never got the chance. just as a high school principal, just took the principal side. So I'm extremely excited to really get that and be able to run with it, because I think your AD needs to be visual. He needs to be out there. He needs to be shaking hands and really toting your athletic programs up and holding them accountable. I'm really excited to be able to do that. And then on the flip side, I told her to be able to come in with a little bit of a high school experience and then learn from Casey, really drive instruction. What I told the interview committee is I want to be successful at all things, activities and school. That means everything. So Harlan, I know Harlan is great. They want to continue to be great. My job is to just kind of maybe keep pushing. So I want to thank you guys, because one of the things I learned from Dr. Burnett is she doesn't do anything without doing her investigating, learning. So I thanked her because the board chose me, and I know that that was something that she needed to do her homework on me, and I think that what came back was that I'm passionate and I work hard and I'm all in. So I'm going to do that for Harlan. I told the kids we're done moving forever. So, forever. We really wanted, and I'll tell you something, you have a really, really special community, and I'm proud to be part of that now. I bought all of Davis's stuff. It's a special community because what I keep hearing are things like Mitch Osborne telling me I moved here in '97 or whatever and never moved again. I've heard that over and over and over, is I moved here and never got away. It trapped me here. That's a special community when it holds you here, and I've already felt that because I've gotten numbers on numbers that have called me, helped me already. It's a special place to live. So I'm excited for my kids to grow up in Harlan, and I'm excited to be able to help you guys out. So if you have any questions, like I said, I am an open book. I'm going to be very honest, and I've told every board and every person, when you have a problem, just come tell me, and I'll make sure to change it. I was single mom raised. I get told once, and I do it that way. So I don't like to.
That's my favorite.
I might mess up, like I said. I'm not saying I won't mess up. I say I won't mess up twice. I said the same thing. So thank you guys, and like I said, I'm excited. Go Cyclones.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, he's way more energetic than I was.
Thanks a lot.
Anthony?
Wait, you look kind of milquetoast, huh?
I'll do better next month.
Any other questions for the personnel report? How about a motion to approve the personnel report?
So moved.
So moved by Greg, and second?
I'll second.
Guess we got Monty on that. Okay, all those in favor, aye?
Right.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Next, we have the transportation sharing agreement with Avoca High School, it's Avoca Hancock Shelby tenant. I'm missing one.
Walnut.
Community School District.
Good job.
I had to think. Okay.
So I don't know if you guys have any questions. This is just exactly what we did last year, and we talked to Jared. We did, we want to make sure that he's comfortable with helping out with both, and he says he is. So just entering into an agreement, and this gets us some operational sharing dollars back for the district.
I think at Jared has been pretty successful.
Yeah, I was just down there getting a car today, and I saw the HSTW buses there, so they must be working on them. Yeah.
No news is good news,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
He's happy. Discussion?
I make a motion to approve the sharing agreement between Harlan Community School District and AHSTW.
Thank you, Jake.
You're welcome.
Well said. And second?
I'll second that.
Got that from Al. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Next is the approval of the 2023-2024 fuel bids.
This is done annually as well, and we just approve those bids. Jared gets them, and then we just have to approve them. So those are the bids we get from Farm Service, Co-op, and AgriLand.
I did talk to Jared a little bit about this today, and he, recommended the co-op get that bid. And what he didn't show on here is AgriLand Farm Services charges to deliver. So that's something that adds to the price that isn't on here. So, they're lower already, but.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And who were we contracted with last year?
It was Farm Service, wasn't it? I think we have
Yep.
So
quite a
for a
few
while, yeah,
years.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Is that okay with you, Monty?
Yeah.
Lonnie knows all about it.
Yeah.
Love it. How about a motion from somebody?
Yeah, some movie.
So moved by Monty, second.
Second.
Second by Joni. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Next, we have the open enrollment application on the table, action item E4 for discussion.
Yeah, it wasn't linked in there, so I
So
don't.
Yeah,
we
don't
can't link
them
that
their names
because
are in there.
Oh,
it has
gotcha.
a name, so it's confidential information.
Mm.
Basically, any open enrollment application we get that is denied has to come to the board. So this student is a student who is requesting to be at the elementary but has pretty high special education needs and has a one-on-one para and some things that we don't have the programming for here at the district. So we are asking the board to decline that open enrollment just because there's, we just aren't able to provide the programming for that student.
So is that a motion, or has that just kind of been decided that we don't have to take action on that?
That's
No,
a
you have to-
recommendation.
It's a recommend, I'm
You're recommending
recommending that we
decline.
decline.
Decline
but
it,
Yes.
okay.
And then if they want their student to go to Harlan, they have to take what is decided upon that it goes, like,
Well, they're from another school district.
oh, and they're wanting to come here.
Yes,
What-
yes, so they're from a
Okay.
different school district, and I don't wanna say it out loud because then
Sure, yeah.
they're from a different school district and want to come in. And normally, oftentimes we will take most students, but
Yeah.
this one just happens to have quite a high need and we are already struggling to find paraprofessionals for students that live here, so it
Gotcha.
would be difficult
It's a
to,
labor issue for us.
yeah.
Okay,
I'll make the motion to deny the open enrollment.
I'll second that.
Second by Monty. All those in favor, aye.
I,
And those opposed, no. Next, we have action item E5, approval of the student lunch and other fees for the 2023-2024 school year. And you get a chance to speak again probably. Kat, where is this Kat Steve?
It's,
There's
Yes.
a couple of things. We haven't raised our lunch fees in 4 years. So we're just raising them, just a little bit, because we need to. And then the tech fees are just moving up $5 each building. And I don't know a lot about that.
this is Brian's request. They haven't been raised again for 4 years, so he just feels that and then also the technology department has said that too. So we put them together just because they're both there, and we just wanted to look at both of them at the same time. And the rising cost of food
I was
is
just gonna
one of
say.
the reasons for the lunch
Yeah.
prices as
And
well.
we're within, we kind of spoke to other school districts, very similar to how they're
Our
doing
size.
across the board too, so.
I did send him a text about this, which he answered me from Rome. I didn't realize he was in
Brian's
Rome.
in
but,
Italy.
um,
Yeah.
I understand that prices go up, but I think it's important that, I don't know, that we continue to look at, keeping these as reasonable as possible. Like, I have 7 kids. For me, $5 times 7, granted 2 are in college, but it adds up. And I think there's families that, don't meet any free and reduced lunch and things like that. It does add up. So I was kind of curious about some reasons behind that, and I'm not against it, but I do think it's something that we need to be cognizant of, that even, I know it seems like, well, only $5 for one school, but when I pay that for 5 kids, what's 5 times 5? Whatever, don't answer that, but, so, I did have some questions for him, and lunch is, it is a little bit of a jump, so that was my only concern.
But I think-
Personally, but for people that have lots of, or a deal of kids, it does add up for
Sure.
them.
And we're coming off the COVID thing where for years it was paid for, wasn't it?
I know, it would be
Yes.
so great if we
Yes.
could just,
It would be.
oh,
I was just curious, if we
Yeah.
weren't able to pay for things or if it was really becoming a problem. But
I do think on the technology side of things too, there had been a structure of kids having to pay if their computer gets broken or different things like that, and I'm 90% sure that is all going away. So then this fees right here will just cover everything and cover the insurance. So we're hoping that would be less of a cost. I know Jeremy has looked into that, so.
Sure. I just want people to know we've thought about that.
Absolutely.
That as a parent of multiple
Sure.
children, I think about that as well. It's $5
Sure.
for me times 5 and things like that. So we've thought of that.
Sure.
I think it's, we haven't raised the lunch prices in 4 years. I think that's been good. I mean,
Yeah.
the
Holding
exhibit
pretty
that-
firm.
What's that?
It's holding pretty firm.
Mm-hmm, yeah,
And food has gone up
Right.
astronomically.
As well as labor,
yeah,
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
so.
so.
Side journey, I'll make a motion to approve the student lunch and other fees for 23-24 school year.
She makes them.
Thank you.
I wanted people to know we're cognizant of
Good
that.
job, Jade.
It was a good discussion.
All right.
I will second.
Second by Al, yeah, and so all those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Next, we have action item E6, the approval of Go Bound School Agreement.
So that, I don't know, do you want to talk about that, Anthony, at all, or have you?
Well,
Sorry, I don't mean
think,
to put you on the spot.
No.
I can talk if you
is
want
this
me.
the agreement that we needed for the conference or for just our school?
Well, this is
Our
just our
schools,
school, but yes.
Everybody's getting the same.
Yeah, we'll all be getting this Go Bound. Bound, I think in the future, I've talked to Davis about this. Joy and I went to a training a few weeks ago for Bound.
Can you explain what it is?
Yeah, and this will be the online ticketing, things like that.
It's required by the state.
Yeah, required by the state. It's where you're going to do your scheduling. Right now, we use our school at Harlan, and not to. Yeah.
That's what Bound looks like.
Yep.
Ooh.
Yep. It'll be.
It's your,
I wish I had Bound when I was in school. It's where you can do all your stats, all
Yeah.
your
Yeah, that's
scheduling.
awesome.
You can do your advertisement on there. Now Bound's really pushing your ticketing options. You can do your online ticketing. I want to be again cognizant of cashless versus cash and what the community wants to be able to do. I think that Joy and I talked about maybe taking baby steps. There are some things that Bound allows you to do, like your concussion forms, your physicals. All of that, if you walk out here, I saw Joy's physical form book and it's all paper copy and I went, oh Joy, we can just do that online. The parents get the form, they fill it out and they shoot it to you and it keeps track of it and it'll turn yellow when the kid's about to get up so you can remember them and it keeps Joy from having to go like this. Those are things that I think that we can hurry up and try to push. But again, those cashless things, those are things I think that we need to be cognizant of the community, because you get the person at the gate that wants to pay, the grandma wants to pay, and I don't want to do that. What kind of headache do we want to put
worked
up?
some things through that last year. We had some solutions to make.
Yeah, so I want to learn that from Davis. Like I said, I think that this is going to be a fantastic thing for Harlan. It's really going to help our school. And as we go forward as a conference, I think that we're going to want to move together. A lot of the conference ADs have already talked about being together on what we choose to do will strengthen. It's going to be our community going to Glenwood, and when Glenwood says we're going cashless, it'll be the frustration of Glenwood parents calling Dr. Barnett, and we don't want that when they travel, you know, and when Atlantic comes to Harlan, we all want to be on the same page and we're kind of doing the same stuff, so, yeah.
No, that's
It's
great,
okay.
thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can add, so
Yeah.
I'm on the Hawkeye 10 Board of Control,
Yep.
and that's been our large discussion point the past few months of if we want to, as a conference, decide to go Bound, and go Bound is, I think that contract includes scheduling, which is already a state requirement to offer the online scheduling, or ticketing, and then to add scheduling, as the Board of Control has changed that to where it is a requirement to use Bound as opposed to our school. So our school is no longer used, it's just all Bound. And then the third thing is a fundraiser option. All we have to do is say that there is like a button that is on our website somewhere where It's very similar to the Just Donate that the music boosters do, where you're not purchasing a product. You can just choose to donate money to the program and not have to get the stuff to go with it. That's an 80-20 split. So Bound keeps 20%, but that goes to someone who is doing the scheduling for us. So they originally came to the conference and tried to have the whole conference go Bound. Not everybody was on board initially, so now it's more school by school, but if we have enough schools go Bound, full Bound, then they will hire a ticketer or a scheduler person who will do all of the conference scheduling. So
this contract that you're approving costs us nothing. If we have people donate, then it's the 80-20 split. If they don't donate, it's nothing. So we don't have to push the we don't have to push the fundraising if we don't want to. But on the flip side, we could have alum that live in Ohio that look at our website and, oh, I just felt like I wanted to donate. So it may give us an opportunity to grab other donors. We're not, we don't know what that's gonna look like right now, but bottom line is we're gonna have to use it anyway, so we might as well take advantage of what they can offer for us.
So
My
the
question-
donation is,
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
the donation is for the cost to get it set up?
the donation is, so you can choose to donate, as far as I understand, you can choose to donate to the track team. So if you're on the track team
Okay.
site,
So,
there's a link there, you can click and donate.
specific.
So if you donate $10, $8 of that goes to the team.
okay,
$2 goes to Bound,
Right.
and that's used to support someone that will schedule, like do all of the inner workings of the scheduling, like that, all that computer work. So when you log on to the Bound website, if we have a game canceled, there's a snowstorm and a game is canceled, and then it's not the ADs working with each other. They contact, it's a central point to contact, and then one person can change all of the
okay.
conference scheduling or whatever it is.
So like these donations aren't like for Blue Out or Pink Out?
No, they would be in addition
those.
to
Okay.
different.
This
That's
would be,
more
you picked up the
specific.
phone
And
and
you
you
just
said, looked
donated.
at Harlan on
Yeah.
this.
And then you
site,
just
thought,
wanted
"Hey,
to
I'll give
donate."
money."
Okay,
And I'll be honest, the 80-20 was like, ooh, 80-20. But when you do football, like if they sell the cards,
That's
it's
separate.
separate, but it's also, they don't get all of the
No, they don't get all
the
of
profits
that.
for that. It's more, sometimes it's 60-40 and sometimes it's, so,
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm not sure what it is, what the-
But there's a percentage.
yeah, well, they could, yeah. But there's almost always, I guess, a percent unless
You wouldn't get into a business to lose money.
Right, so, and I do know that the gentlemen that run Bound are former athletic directors, so they understand the whole big picture of things.
So it's athletic specific.
No,
It can be,
activities.
we can add,
Okay.
yes.
Because that would be my question, if we're gonna go to, cashless entry to things, we have music, we have arts that will need to be facilitated in the working of that too, or else it's a disaster for parents trying to figure out all things. And I guess the first things I had heard of it was athletic specific, so.
You can,
I don't think so.
No.
I looked at another school who is full Bound right now,
Okay,
and they had every activity you could think. I can't remember the name of the school,
that would be
but
very helpful.
they had every activity, and you could click on it, see their schedule. There's a donate button, that, and they're raising money that way. They also will have more of that visual for social media. So, it could be a partnership with community businesses where if they would like to sponsor a game or something, and we post it online, so it might have a business scroll across the top, game information below, things like that. So there's some more potential to have a partnership
Collaborate
between the
with-
school and community and things like
Even
that
on the
too.
site
So
right
hard to
now,
say right now.
I can bring up choir and color guard and debate and dodgeball and drama.
Perfect.
They're all
Speaking with our previous
already
meeting,
on the
we
site.
Harlan's kind of where Southwest Valley was like a year and a half ago, I would say, like that in between of our school and Bound. And I'll tell you, our AD, that AD, I gotta get used to it, I apologize.
They're being
Okay?
used
The
for
AD
that.
at Southwest Valley said
But
he'll
it's a
never,
option.
the Bound, the way it schedules for you is just, in that conference liaison, to be able to switch things, the headache goes out because you're right, and it's all activities, all your bands, so when things get moved, that's an AD's worst nightmare. And for that to switch quickly for both sides, because, you know, heaven help you if you change your side, but they don't change their side, it's all gonna be faster and better, so I'm excited. It's just, you've gotta get, what he told me was you have to get through a few months of people going, well, I checked our school, you need to Bound, you need to go to Bound, and that's when you link it to you start putting Bound like on Harlan's website, and that's when you really pump it out there that this is where you go to check activities, not sports, all activities. I think once you do that, then the community, everybody goes Bound, so.
Was this an Iowa corporation that developed the software? Or is that how it?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's
Are
local.
they trying to get a lot of Iowa schools on it?
They
Is that
are.
their
They're
goal?
using Hawkeye 10 as,
As a
trying to
model.
use it
They're
as a
trying to do
model or
a
pilot
conference.
conference.
Really?
They have lots of school districts that are doing exactly what we're doing, but they would like to do a conference, like conference by conference, so they can assign, they want to expand and help the ADs too, so that way they can assign a person to a specific conference, and then that person is your liaison, you go to him, and the person on the Bound side has these 10 people that he works with versus kind of all over.
You think we'll pay for it ever? I understand the donation thing if
that's a
so,
that's a good
but say
point.
they get us all locked into it and then 5 years from now say, all right, your free trial period's over.
Right.
And however much comes off your credit card and you forgot, you subscribed,
Right.
whatever.
That's a good point, but I will say,
Could happen, but there could be
This-
competition as well.
but there
You
might,
think?
yes, there might be.
There are other
Oh,
yeah.
entities that do the cashless ticketing.
Well,
I can't remember any names, but all the events I had to go to, I've used
Bound.
multiple different ones.
Oh,
So
yes.
there is a competition out there. So they would be
But
bound
like,
to compete.
and if everybody
Bravo.
has Bound in our conference, just like Casey and Anthony said too, it's just easier for parents when they go, they've got it.
Yeah, for sure.
And I do feel that we've shifted, I mean, we still, we're not gonna not let anybody into a game. We'll figure out a way if you don't have it or whatever, but I'll use Maggie Hatcher as an example. She does not have a cell phone and she will not purchase one online, but she has problem-solving ways. So she will call and say, can you get me one? And I'll pay you the cash, Jenny, and then I'll print off the ticket for her, or not just me, she uses lots of, not uses, but
Yes.
I mean, there are ways, so people problem solve if they
And there are
have to.
we have card readers and we
Yeah.
have devices at the booth where you can just
So we're trying to.
use a device there, use an iPad there to purchase your tickets.
And
So-
we'll have an extra person there just to help walk people through it until we get used to it.
Yeah.
The conference has talked, I think we're on year 3 of trying to get everyone to go cashless. It just solves a lot of headaches as far as like
Having
just
cash.
having cash and making, the boxes and all that stuff. So it's easier for accounting purposes, things like that. So they are really trying to move the whole conference into cashless. It just takes some time to get the habit changed and people remember and to, have your ticket on your phone or device or whatever first, so.
Financially, I did say, when Joy and I were at that meeting, they asked about that. They want to know what the outlook of this. And I think one of the things that we got kickback was, I think they're going to follow Huddle. All use Huddle for video. Huddle tried to do that. Huddle upped their prices and capped how much film you could have. And that competitor came out and all coaches said, all right, we'll just leave Huddle and we'll do it as a conference. Then Huddle went, no, wait, we'll drop our prices, you can have as much as you want for free. And then they're very aware of that happening. So
Yeah.
if you ramp up your price, we'll back out and we'll go to a different one. And I think that we're aware of that.
Mostly just a hat rack though.
Any other discussion? Otherwise, we'll ask for a motion on this item.
I'll make that motion.
Greg will make the motion
I will
to
second it.
approve the Go Bond School Agreement. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Next, we have action item E7, approval of Omaha stage equipment bid.
So, when we did the very first round of bids, for the auditorium, the, like lighting the stage, oh, sorry.
Scroll, you'll be able to
Scroll
read
down.
all your-
Oh, there we go.
all your
right
info.
there. So, the issuance one, for the auditorium, one of the pieces that we declined, one of the bids, was for the curtains, the rigging, the hardware, and the equipment. Because we felt that we only had gotten one bid, and DeNovo and Stephen Manis felt it was high, so he knew we could get a better bid. So this is the better bid. And we don't have to take this out to public bid because we already did. So that bid at the time was about $95,000. So this bid is $58,000. So we would want to recommend that we approve this bid versus that bid.
Patience.
Yeah, they knew this one, yeah. Okay, so I don't know if anybody has any questions.
Is part of this being paid by the booster?
Well, thank you, Jim. I did want to say, it's not necessarily this part, but I do want to just give a public shout out to the music boosters because they have donated $75,000 towards some upgrades in the new auditorium initiative. Jay, do you want to talk about any of those things, or do you want me to tell you? I'll tell you guys specifically what they would like the $75,000 to go for is video feed implementation. So there will be TVs out in the commons area, out in the band room, the music room, and I think the art room. So there's feeders, so basically if you're in a play and you're setting up in the back rooms, you'll be able to know where they're at and hear what they're doing. And then that was the big piece of it, and then the soundboard. We have a new soundboard, we're upgrading the soundboard. So those two big things were from the music department. And then we've also are gonna work with them on just a strategic plan in general, and then working on new, which doesn't have anything to do with the bond issue, but new uniform purchases, because that's a pretty high expense. So figuring out how to do that in collaboration with the music boosters. Band. And the choir robes.
Choir, okay.
Yeah, they haven't been replaced since, it's been a little while. They get rotated, being cleaned, and they have been replaced, but I think the boosters I am there, but all of us as an entity are happy to help with, having some upgrades in the auditorium and stuff, but then just working with the school to better get on a schedule of things and knowing, who's helping pay for things and
just working with the music boosters has been a good, I think we're working on just strategically planning some things out. In the next 10 years, what do they need and what can we buy, what can they buy, and working together.
I think the misconception is we're crabby. That's mainly me, not all of them. But I think
we
it's
should give a shout out to Jay because I know you're very much involved in all that. And originally it might have been a little less money, but I know your persistence.
No, I didn't have to bend anyone's arm. They're excellent people and happy to help. But I think it's been good.
Yes, so I just want to thank, the music boosters for that. I had it right here.
I'll make sure they watch this portion of the meeting.
At 6:08, Jade.
Okay.
So, 30, almost an hour, less than an hour into it.
Very good. So
They should be watching the meetings anyways.
we're on item number 7. Would someone like to make a motion on?
Yeah, that's part of savings, so yeah, make a
Yes.
motion.
Okay.
So moved on that.
Omaha Stage Equipment, Inc. bid. Kat's got that. A second, please.
Second. I will.
Second from Joan. All those in favor, aye.
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 Those opposed, no. Next, we have item number 8, resolution directing the advertisement for sale, approving electronic bidding procedures, and approving official statement. So would you like to explain this one too, Mr. Barnett? This is a,
What did I do here? I can't get this one to open.
okay.
Well, I have it written down. What did I do, Catherine?
I don't know.
I have it right here. I don't know. Oh, here it is. Okay.
Okay.
I don't know why. Casey, what did I do?
Or somebody else, just Cat, Casey.
So like,
You don't, it's just blue. I don't think it's linked.
Did I
Well,
do?
let me just.
You just made it blue.
Okay, so basically, this is giving, the board has to give permission for us to advertise for the 12.9 million of general obligation bond that's left. We did the 10 million, it's basically the exact same thing we did in December. So the advertisement, it needs to go in the newspaper. We have to give permission for us to put that in the newspaper. And then it discusses the bidding process. There's a specific, it's called parity, so it has to go on parity. The electronic bidding has to be submitted in substantial conformity with Iowa code. And it's the 12.9 million, and it will be dated August 1st once it's bought and we sell it. And this just gives us permission, once we sign this, to on July 6th, which is our special board meeting at 5:15, the bond will be sold July 6th, and then our meeting has to be at 5:15 because there has to be a certain number of hours between the time it's sold and our approval. So this is the second set of bonds, if that makes sense. And the reason that we want to do that now is so that we can lock in interest rates, and then we will be able to get the savings on this before we need to spend it, so. Did I get that right?
Yeah, very good, yeah. And I think Brian has been in communication a lot with Travis,
Yes.
with Piper Standler, is it? Right.
Piper Standler.
And, they seem very aware and competent in this, that now is the time to pull the trigger, I guess is what it comes down to.
That's what they feel, and we are gaining more on the first set of bonds. Brian was gauging at about 4%, and we're at about 5% right now. So we've gained, it will be close to $900,000 in interest when we get done, in addition for,
For that, because that money isn't spent, it's in
Not
the
spent, yeah, it's just
savings account.
savings. We're saving it right now until we get things rolling.
And not to confuse things, but also on the 6th, then we also be looking at approving using the money for the first bond that we already did sell and et cetera.
Right, so those
Okay, so there's
two forms that I
things.
sent out to you on Friday that Brian asked me to send, those are for the July 6th meeting. So that's from the first set of bonds, and then it gives us permission to spend that money, basically.
So they really have a fast turnaround on this. They take the bids and Travis can say by 5 o'clock, this is what you should do. And I think it's pretty clear cut on this.
Yeah, and it's the same as the public bidding process, so we have to take the best bid. So, yep. Any questions?
Yeah, discussion, questions? Okay, how about a motion for item number 8?
I move the approval of action item number 8.
And a second?
I'll second.
Give it to her.
Okay, Jade's got the second.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, no. Next, we have item 9, approval of disposal of excess and obsolete equipment and supplies.
Is this the stuff that didn't sell?
So, no, this is something that Brian, if he were here, he would explain, but we have to do this every single year, and we just have to approve that the board allows us to dispose of any obsolete and redundant material that are here.
And who makes the decision on most of this stuff? Is it Brian or Mike or?
It would be
together,
the
maybe?
custodians and then the principals, I think, and Mike too. I do think, I mean, if anyone went to the garage sale, We disposed of quite a bit and people came and got quite a bit, so we
But I
appreciate
assume
everyone
there's a
that did.
lot, even more than that, I assume you have coaches if you have athletic equipment or deeming it not worth.
Right. Yep.
Arts, same thing, involve instructors.
We're not disposing of coaches in it.
No, we need to find those.
Just clarifying that.
Yeah, you said the list that we need.
Yeah.
Would you like to do the motion, Greg?
Sure, I'll make that motion.
This is for item number 9. Okay, and a second on this?
I'll second.
Yeah, Monty on the second. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Next, we have action item E10, policy review schedule, first reading.
Jude, you had a month off, didn't you?
I did, and I was gonna ask for clarity. It's in my email when I look at it on my computer that I can see the suggested changes.
Yeah, so she's pulling it up.
Because when I looked at it on my phone again, I'm like, I don't know.
Wait, where do you want me to go? Is there a certain
So,
spot?
so you can see something in green. So,
Okay,
Right.
yes. So we're keeping it the same. You're not just putting it in there. Like, we can read what it has been and what it would like to be.
well, so I sent out earlier to the people, well, to everyone.
Yeah.
And it had on the side, the IASB adds this bullet point, and then if I don't hear anything back, then I just put it in green.
Okay. That was just what I was
Yep,
checking on.
Yep, yep, good question.
Because most of these aren't anything that anyone would have any thoughts on.
Right.
I'm always curious what it was versus what they want it to be, so,
Yeah.
okay.
And if it's like a total rewrite, then I'll put them both in there.
Okay.
And I'll say, this is what we currently have, and then I'll put underneath, this is what IASB has.
I think it's helpful for a couple reasons. One, if somebody didn't like the change, I don't know what it said before, because as a parent, I'm not really reading that when I sign it or whatever, but, so I think that's helpful that way.
Yeah.
That's all, sorry.
Yeah, on the curriculum development one, I think there was something in here about aligning annual goals with needs assessment. And Dr. Burnett said she thought it was a good idea, which, some additional verbiage that's probably not earth-shattering. And then also on the curriculum implementation, it's, there was another item about a bullet point providing professional development. And so I guess that's, IASB was adding that.
Yeah.
And I guess if that sounds, I don't think they're huge changes, but a
No,
little
we
more
do.
information.
We're currently doing it, so.
Steve, isn't that what we pay you for?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Okay, just
Actually,
checking
that
in.
whole policy is just best practice. I
Okay,
mean, it's stuff that, the governor, I think, wants to get stuff clarified, that, making sure that we're being transparent with our curriculum process, what we're selecting, and we're being very mindful. Like when we did our ELA this year, there was a couple novels that were in the new curriculum that we didn't think were appropriate, and teachers then had the flexibility to have another novel or something. That just as an example, but any curriculums, we met as an admin group with Brian, the money guy, to figure out a curriculum cycle, because you haven't had one for quite a while. And so now we have an established 5-year rotation of what we'll do, and then there'll be opportunities for teachers not only during their curriculum cycle year that they can start looking at materials. We always bring in the AEA, so I'm not a reading expert, so I lean on the AEA. That's why we pay them money. They have reading consultants, math consultants, science consultants, and they'll help us go through that whole selection process. And then we also go to Ed Reports, which makes sure that the curriculums you're looking at are aligned with the core, and that's very important. So there's lots of pieces in there that go into a curriculum process, but a lot of this stuff is just defining best practice in my view.
okay.
And just so you know, we got, we might have quite a few next month, because there was a policy update that came in from IASB with quite a few changes, so.
A lot of those,
Add those.
But not on this first reading.
No.
This
For next
time.
month.
Okay.
For next month's first reading.
A lot of those IASB policy updates have to do with legislative mandates to, that there's really, we don't really have much choice.
Right.
And I was wondering
That's exactly
if either of these were
Nope.
kind of connected that way.
They'll be next month.
Well, yes, because that just came out, the new, like I was even as superintendent, I was in a meeting today, and a lot of the new laws don't have the
July 1 is when a lot of new laws go in. so.
Oh, good. I'm probably on next month.
Of course you are.
See, I worked on this one, so we get to do some lot.
In this first reading, it looked like just adding a couple bullet
Yeah,
points to it.
very
Really
easy.
basic. Basic. Sorry. Anyway, how about a motion on this? Anyone have any thoughts or?
Well, maybe you need to be on next month.
Are you volunteering?
So moved.
So moved by Joni to approve the first reading
I'll
of the
second that.
policy review, and we got second by
Monty.
Monty. Thank you very much. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, no. Okay, now we have the item 11, policy review schedule, second reading, and I was on that committee, and I didn't see anything too earth shattering on the second reading. And I guess, let's see.
I don't think much changed.
Those were just, like I said last month, those were just notes that were for me that kind of got into the policy, so we're just taking those out.
If there's no discussion, would someone like to make a
Yeah.
motion on the
So
second
moved.
reading? So moved by Jade, that we approve it, and second
I'll second it.
by Al. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, no. Next, we have item number 12, the consent agenda. And so first of all, we've got the minutes, and the bills from last month's meeting.
Did you look those over, Jim?
I did look the bills over. And since Brian isn't here, I don't know if it's fair to who to ask.
Well, you can ask, and then if we
Okay.
don't know the answer, we will find it for you.
I see, the universal preschool payment, and I was just kind of thinking, how does that work?
Universal preschool.
That was with it says, with Shelby County Catholic Schools.
It's to Shelby County Catholic
Yeah,
Schools.
yeah.
So, how that works is, we collaborate with Shelby County Catholic Schools and their preschool program.
Okay, I
So,
thought that was-
our, so what we do is share the dollars for those students.
Uh-huh.
So then they get their dollars back, and Brian pays those either twice a year or once a year. I should know that, and I don't. But that's that chunk of payment. So
Their share. of
Their
it.
share of
For the
for the kindergarten, or the preschool.
Or pre-K that they're.
Yes.
I imagine the
yes.
collaboration is a good thing.
It's good,
isn't it?
yeah. Mhm.
Very good. Another one, I see here de novo, 374,000. And then snow removal is about 49,000. And is that pretty typical? State built is the contractor there?
Yes, that is typical. It's expensive. I do know when it's, I mean, we have to have it, so, but they actually are more reasonable than others around. So, and they will come and snow blow at midnight if we need them to get it done for the next morning,
Yeah.
so that we can have school. So yes, that is,
Yeah, they're doing a good job.
It's-
That's always important.
and that just depends too on how much it snows.
Yeah, we've been
Like if we don't
fortunate.
have snow, then you don't have that to go.
The kids probably wish we'd pay less.
Well, they can't get the parking lot.
We're paying too much for snow removal. The kids think.
So that was my questions. Any other questions or discussion on those?
What was de novo? Just our payment?
Yeah.
For, okay.
Mhm.
Your questions, they've earned it.
Yes.
Jeez.
Craig always, Jim always has good
Stay out of
questions. He has good questions. I love them.
I like it too.
How about a motion on the consent agenda?
So moved.
So moved by Greg to approve the consent agenda, and a second.
Second.
Second by Joni. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, no. And so next we have the item H, the adjournment. Would anybody like to go home?
She was late, I don't think she gets to. I would like
No.
to move for adjournment.
Greg would like to move for the adjournment.
I'll sit here 12 minutes if they.
And the second by
Need a second.
Okay, I'll second.
Jay. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Okay, guess we're adjourned.
Okay.
Okay.